And we are back at it again, fourth in fantasy. My name is Huncho, and this is my guy.
Siriaco, call me Rocco. They say I am the best chair dancer in all of Southern Louisiana.
Hope everybody's doing well on this wonderful day. We're here to talk some more fantasy football with you guys. But before we get into the weeds, we just want to let y'all know this is the channel for fantasy winners if you want to win a championship. And what kind of sickos are we?
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos, but everybody's welcome. And today, Redraft folks are welcome.
Yes, we've been on this kind of series where we've been going through startup strategies off of different formats. Our previous video we did Dynasty. Today we're doing Redraft with a few different settings. I will actually get to show you guys what we're actually talking about real quick. Now, today's Redraft scoring settings are Superflex, 5-point passing touchdown, which is a little different. Typically, you either see 4 or 6. We're doing right in the middle at 5. 1.75 tight end premium, 3 flex, and we have 3 round reversal. Man, and before we get and start the draft, you might be asking, what is the difference between redraft, or what's the strategy that you should from redraft or dynasty, right? Where Dynasty, there's more, if you say you're taking more account of age, because these are guys that you're going to be having on your team for the next year and the next year and the next year for how long you want them to be on your squad. So, nevertheless, let's say, you're drafting a Devontae Adams. He probably only has about another year or two, or 3 years of play left at the most, right? You got to put that all at play if you're going to think about in that range that Devontae Adams goes off. Let's say it is redraft. You're not really caring about that because he's not going to be on your team potentially next year. So you can just go ahead and pick somebody else. But Rocco, how do you try to tackle between redraft and dynasty?
I don't think there's a whole bunch of difference. In Dynasty, I generally lean towards getting younger players.
Mm-hmm.
But in those middle and later rounds, I will get me a Devontae Adams because I like to win money. So while everybody's going for those super young first and second year players, I will put a Devontae Adams, maybe a Cortland Sutton, a few guys like that on my team, Derrick Henry, depending on where he goes. But I think the biggest difference between Dynasty and redraft is I go into a redraft knowing that I have to set a lineup. Like in Dynasty, I can go and just smash out value and get nothing but wide receivers.
Yeah.
Maybe not nothing but running backs because I don't want to be too overloaded with running backs.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get like a third, a fourth, fifth quarterback knowing I can move those guys. Because in redraft, you those trades might not be available to you, and it's not like you have a first, second round pick to send off for needs. So I go into a redraft trying to make sure I have all of the pieces I need to set a studly starting lineup. So that's the biggest difference for me.
And I want to pop back this comment back up from our guy. He was saying that's a high tight end premium. Very tempted to draft a tight end. Yeah, that's why I did so. I wanted to make it a little harder for just on strategy. With me, I don't want to spill too much because I feel like then people are going to try to jump me or try to get ahead of me. But nevertheless, how I got into, basically, before I knew what Dynasty was, I always played redraft. So my first year at Dynasty, where I won championships, I took some of those principles and brought that over to Dynasty. My first year ended up being the number one team in the regular season. I lost in the playoffs in the third round, I believe, second or third round. But it helped me know just having success in redraft. If you're pretty successful, you can try to, do your thing. Honestly, I feel like Dynasty is kind of more of you have more luck in Dynasty because sometimes guys can come out of the weeds and you have like a Puka Nakua who ends up being, bigger than who they are. But nevertheless, we are ready to get started. Are you ready to go, my boy?
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go, man. So let me bring this over here, make it nice and sexy.
And while you're doing that, man, thank you for everybody for joining us. It's cool to see Chev in the house. I see Crispy, one of our day ones on the Discord in the house. Our guy Ben, who is the injury guy. If you have injury questions, go find him and join his Discord because he goes on deep dives on injuries to anybody you ask about. It's called Injury Injury Myth Busters. Yeah, you say it right.
And I'm over here trying to send a message in here. There we go. So, yes, I do agree. There's a lot of guys in here. Shout out to, like you said, shout out to our guy Dynasty. Shout out to Chev. Shout out to my boy Drake. He's actually one of my league mates in one of my paid leagues. I love having you, my guy. Shout out to Crispy and everybody else who has joined. And let's have some fun. But nevertheless, let's get this thing started. 60-second timers, and we are on the way, baby.
Aiden Noah, you're on the clock.
Let's see who's gonna be what. Let's see if Jamar Chase happens to be the 101 again. Is this? Yes, it is PPR. I should have put that on there. Apologize.
Nah, it's not gonna be Jamar Chase in 90% of leagues.
Josh Allen goes off at that 101, who we all believe is the QB1 in fantasy, maybe in real life as well. I feel like
it's chalk.
when it comes to passing, rushing, just everything you want from the quarterback position to be one of those top three guys. Josh Allen is it, and we're going on a real QB run right now.
I have a bit of a hot take on Josh Allen. If I have Josh Allen shares, I'm trying to move off of it as he gets close to the 30. He's a cyborg, but he's just so rough with his body that I don't know if he's gonna, be able to play like he is into his early to mid 30s. It makes me wonder, but he's gonna be here for a good time. I don't know if necessarily he's gonna be here for a long time, but as a guy that won a championship with Josh Allen in a redraft last year, man, have at it. But just in a dynasty format, which we're not playing today, he makes me a little nervous.
Burrow is getting some love. He goes 103, which I think is a very appropriate spot for him in redraft because when it comes to the Bengals offense, as I predict, it's going to be a very pass-heavy offense, and then he is typically in that top 5 in passing categories. I like that pick for Joe Burrow at 103. Drake, my boy, what we doing? You gonna be our first spot? But y'all know how I'm going with this, man. Jamar Chase is off the board, so y'all know motherfucker.
You're definitely not going to be responsible by taking a quarterback right here. We all know that.
You know what I'm
Need me
saying?
to hit the button for you?
I'm gonna go ahead and take myself CD. Nobody else is getting CD when I'm in the motherfucking. God damn it! Stop playing with the kid. Stop playing with the kid, the OG.
Pretty interesting. I see Chev went with Bijan, who
I wanted to point that out. Yes,
could be have a legendary season this year. I believe it's his 3rd year. So I'm on the clock. So
you're on the clock. But shout out to
he could have that CMC type of year this year.
He knows what the real value is out there with my Falcons. Bijan Robinson, and I am a Cowboys fan, but I am from Georgia, so I still root for the Falcons. And Bijan Robinson is one of those guys who I still think can ascend. They haven't used him to his full potential yet, and I think in that year 3, this will be year 3. I think he's going to take that step that we all want to see in fantasy and in real life.
Okay, so a big tier of quarterbacks just went. So I'm not going to go in that direction. And unlike the last Dynasty draft, I'm not going to go with uh, with running back right here. I'm
Mhm.
going to take a guy who I project to be the number one wide receiver this year, and
Justin
going forward for
Jefferson.
many years at 110. It's lunacy that he slid that far.
I can get jiggy with that. And if we're looking at the rest of the picks after mine, we had Jalen Hurts come off the board. Fantasy football wise, he's still one of the top quarterbacks. Then you go Barkley, our boy Crispy, who in redraft he's still going. He could be easily RB1 again in 2025. Then you have Bowers come off the board with the tight end premium being 1.75. Go Dogs! You know how I feel about my guys. I believe Brock Bowers could potentially have another great year. In our one of our previous videos we did with our guy Chef, he pointed out that he thinks Bowers could regress just because of the overall offense.
Yeah, I took Bowers at 1.4 in the fishbowl because of the 3.5 tight end premium. Uh, Now I realize that I may have made a mistake because all of the highest scores are running backs, but fuck it, we ball.
We
Um,
ball, baby.
Oh man, and I love the fact that Stained over here at the end kind of did the same strategy I did in our last video with the two running backs at the end. He said he's going to kick ass at running back and he's going to fill in everywhere else.
That might be the recipe, Rocco, at this year when it comes to redrafting. I might even say potentially dynasty, just depending on your scoring settings. But getting Jamar Gibbs and Ashton Genty, two potential. Well, okay, I want to say Jamar Gibbs is a top three, and then Genty is he has projected volume to be in that top three. I like those picks.
And for me, it's coming
Uh-oh.
down to Malik Neighbors or Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm
Malik.
gonna go with the guy who I believe is a better football player and the guy that's gonna get 160 to damn near 200 targets a year. Give me Neighbors to pair up with Justin Jefferson. So I'm sticking to my wide receiver build, and I kind of like it so far.
Well, I still like. There's still a few guys that I like right now, and we're talking about redraft. If you ask me, I'm still somebody who really loves having elite pair of wide receivers. I think when it comes to the overall value of those and how they get the ball is okay. I have like 30 seconds. So, guys, I'm potentially looking at is Brian Thomas, Drake London here. I could potentially go with, which I think I'm leaning towards that. I'm almost in that category of Drake London could potentially have a top 5 year with the volume. So I'm gonna go with my boy Drake London, man. Have to go with my guy. I think he's in store for a very big year. And can we? I want to note something. We have Amon Raw St. Brown going at 2.7 when I feel like the overall census on Amon Ross St. Brown has come down a bit. Not to say that people are down on him, but they just don't consider him in that. Like they're choosing Malik Neighbors over Amon Ross St. Brown, who's been a top four receiver for like the last 3 years.
I know I did. I'm going with youth, and I'm going with the guy that's a little bit more explosive, a guy that can take the ball to the house at any moment. Um, yeah, I just think Malik Neighbors is a better football player than Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And then we go Derrick Henry, our boy Chev, went double running back. Devin Eight Chain, Brian Thomas, Nico Collins, and Lad McConkey. Go Dogs. You know how I feel about my guys. Once again, Devin Eight Chain, I feel like the last few weeks people have been up and down on him as well, just because of they're like, we don't know how the overall offense is going to go. Once Tua went out last year, everything went to boo boo kaka. But I feel like everything went wrong with that offense at the right time of the year. And if you're a Miami fan, you hate to hear that. But I think that overall offense could be for a bounce back, whether it's Tyreek Hill, whether it's a Devin A. Chain, whether it's a Waddle. Those guys I feel like are going to come back. And let's look at some of the
Yeah,
comments from Scott. Love the London pick. You already know you would, my boy. You know how we do out here.
That's a guy that could definitely lead the league in definitely lead the league in targets in 2025. So I can't poo poo on it. But for me, Neighbors is just he's just built different.
I feel like AJ Brown in the third is good value, my G.
Tremendous value in redraft. I mean, you talk about a guy that can absolutely. I mean, there's not too many guys that can definitely lead the league in receiving yards and touchdowns.
Mhm.
Um, he's a guy that had 1,400 yards back-to-back seasons in Philadelphia before he kind of came back to earth last year. But if you look at his per-game numbers last year, he was even better than he was those previous 2 years, even with Saquon Barkley running for 2,000 yards. So, great pick.
Oh,
Keep it
come
right there.
on, dude.
And
Oh,
then
Truth.
he gets Marvin Harrison Jr.
He got autoed, so I ain't putting no respect on
Oh,
it.
he pops in after he hate to see it, my G. Who
Yeah,
we
this
going
is
with right now, Rocco?
oh
You
man,
got
it's a fucking easy ass pick. A guy that can definitely with his legs, with the weapons that the team is putting around him, with the offensive play caller that is, his coach that's put together, legendary offenses in New Orleans. Give me Bo Nix. I'm going to get my QB one.
whoa, whoa.
And I feel good as fuck about picking my guy Bo Nix.
I love Bo Nix. Man. I think when I don't know how many times we're going to say this, but he is the perfect quarterback for Sean Payton and what the Denver Broncos want to do. I think if we're talking about their overall success with them this year, he's going to be a big part of that. And you have some other guys in that offense who are also young and coming about. But shout out to our guy Mo. He said AJ Brown is going to boss up this year. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I hope not too much, but I love good football, and I think he will also boss up this year. And
That's
then we have RTT Truth. He says, "Shit, wife called." Been there, man. Been there.
Marvin Harrison Jr. might be great, but if you see my hate show, I don't think he will be. But you never know.
So here, I think I want to go
Oh shit,
either.
OTC, look at that.
I'm looking at either running back or quarterback. There's still a lot of guys I like here, but who I absolutely love in redraft is Baker Mayfield. Even in Dynasty, Baker Mayfield is my guy, and he's going to be who I choose here. I think when it comes to Baker Mayfield, and just to throw out, he still has Mike Evans. He still has Chris Godwin, even though he's coming off an injury. He has a McMillan. He has now Emeka Ibuka. He has Otten. He has Bucky Irving. Now, what can that overall offense do? They went to the playoffs last year. Like, I'm so tired of the Baker Mayfield disrespecting people thinking, he's not like one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this league. He's one of those guys in my eyes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was pretty bold to take him over Mahomes. A lot of guys in our discords think that Mahomes is set for a bounce back year, but if you just look at the numbers on paper the last 2 years, Mayfield has kind of murdered.
He's done his thing.
He's murdered Mahomes' numbers.
Then we have Patrick Mahomes come off the board because my boy Drake is on auto. George Kittle, because George Kittle's doing his thing. He's a dark horse for tight end one.
Chev understood the assignment that it's redraft. He's getting some guys that are gonna fucking smash in redraft this year.
Omarion Hampton in the fourth. That means you heard the Najee Harris news and his whole place basically burnt up. But speedy recovery for Najee, not to poke fun at anybody. But Caleb and a few people that came off, Caleb Williams, just depending on how you feel about him. Hey, Ben Johnson will work wonders, and maybe this could be a very good pick. Bucky Irving, and then we have Sam Laporta. I'm like halfway in, halfway out on Sam Laporta. I don't know how to overall feel on him. What do you think about Sam Laporta going forward, Rocco?
I think that there's some other like after Bowers, after McBride, after potentially Kittle, I think I'd rather just wait on tight end.
Mhm.
I just think there's a lot of weapons in that target pie in Detroit. So, I think he can be an absolute tight end one,
Mhm.
but can he be a tight end one that's a big time difference maker? I think I'd rather have some of the guys that are going around that part of the draft.
And I wonder what our guy Ben means. He about to put this mock on notice. I wonder what he has up his sleeve, man. But
Send him an invite. Come on in.
yeah, send him. Let's see what you about to do, my G. But
Send him an
a,
invite.
a guy,
Get in here.
somebody who I'm about to take right now, he was considered a few years ago as one of those top 3 running backs. And Brees Hall, come on down. I think he is still being undervalued. I think that overall offense is being undervalued. And really, he could end up having another top 5 year at the RB position if everything goes correctly. Yes, their coach has talked about a running back by committee, with Brees Hall, with Davis, with um, Allen as well. So we still got to see what they do. But nevertheless, I think with Brees Hall, he is in a good position to show out in 2025. And if he doesn't, oh well, fuck, I just made a bad pick. But I don't think I made a bad pick here with so far going CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Baker Mayfield, Brees Hall, and with it being PPR, I love my team so far.
Yeah, I think Ben was saying he was gonna light this
With the killer pick.
this draft on fire with the Caleb pick. I mean, hopefully you're not doing these things in real life and you containing these mistakes to to mocks because you may be getting mocked by midseason. But anywho,
Hey,
let me.
that's a knee slapper right there.
Ah,
What two?
all right. Anyway, let me take a real actual stud that actually has actual QB production. I'm
Mhm.
gonna stack up my QBs now that I got my wide receivers and get me two. And basically, what I'm looking for is to get 2 QB1s by the 4th round. I don't think this guy's going to be there when I come back around. So let me get my guy who, he has a great offense. He has a great offensive coach, just like Bo Nix. Give me Brock Purdy. I think
Oh,
he's
Brock
gonna
Purdy
kick ass in
off the board here.
2025.
And if could we look at some of these
For
other picks,
sure.
in the round where we had Chase Brown come off the board, we had Josh Jacobs. Really love the Josh Jacobs pick, where I think overall volume for him is going to be really high. Then you have Rasheed Rice. I'm still like 75% in on Rasheed Rice.
Mhm.
I like what the Chiefs offense is trying to do because they were starting to get old. But we're going to see what they can do in 2025. But we got to see what Xavier Worthy, what a now Kelsey looks like. Then they went out and got Jalen Royals, and so we're going to see what that offense looks like in 2025. Drake May by our boy Chev, who could potentially show out this year. I hope a year two jump for him. Then we have Kyron Williams, Brees Hall by myself, Mike Evans, still believe in Mike Evans, Mr. 1,000 yard season every year, future Hall of Famer, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Tyreek Hill, and Kyler Murray. Tyreek Hill that's somebody who once again I'm putting my flag on in 2025. I do think he was bothered by the wrist injuries and just again Tua going out just messed everything up. That still could happen in 2025 with his concussions, but they've, in a way, added more to the QB position with bringing in Zach Wilson. I know Zach Wilson, don't kill me, but it's better than all the other backups they had last year. And then they went out and drafted Quinn Irwin or Irwin. I've always messed up his name. I always forget his last name. The QB from Texas.
Quinn Ewers.
Thank you, Quinn Ewers. Actually, forgettable.
Quinn Ewers.
But I think that overall QB room is good for them. But who are you going with 14 seconds left on the
All
board?
right. Guys, I was looking at was Alvin Kamara in a redraft. That's basically the only place I want him. But I'm gonna stick to my brand, and I'm gonna go with my guy, who's an absolute league winner. Give me Ken Walker right here.
Devontae Adams comes off the board, which is always going to be one of my favorite value picks in a redraft. If we've been on record, Rocco has gone on record where he believes both him and Puka Nacua will have really big years, even over 1,300 per each receiver. So I think that is a great pick. Alvin Kamara comes off the board as well, and I feel like at this point, a couple of guys we still have on the board: James Cook, Terry McLaurin, C.J. Stroud, Terry McMillan, Trevion Henderson, Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard. So it looks like the running back position is starting to dry up fairly quickly on guys that I want to see produce. And I think somebody who's always a great value is James Conner here. James Cook in 2025, I think is still a good pick. If this was Dynasty, I'd be a little bit skeptical, but in 2025, I still think he does play. And then we still got a couple here. I think this is hard, but I'm gonna go with my boy Chuba. When it comes to the Carolina offense, I think they take a step forward. Bryce Young showed some moxie at the end of the year. What happened?
Chef took your quarterback.
Oh, motherfucker! Yo!
I know you were waiting for Fields too.
Chef.
You should have took him. That's why you always have QB problems.
Wait, come on now. What we doing, baby? Come on now. Like you fucking with me right now, my boy.
He is.
Come on, Chef. You about to make me crash out, my boy. What we doing?
I swear
what we doing, baby?
For a future episode, I need to take all of your guys.
But he knows how I feel about Justin Fields. He knows that I think he's going to have a top 10 season. People need to stop sleeping on him.
Not on your mock draft team right here.
Not on my mock. Not on my mock draft. No.
Chef knows he has to take care of the quarterback situation. You can tell by this board just to kind of,
And then Dak Prescott comes off the goddamn board. Oh my fucking god, bro!
What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a step back from the board and look at that sea of red that tells you that this mock draft we value quarterbacks. So yes, you're gonna be left holding the bag. I mean, you might be able to get your boy Bryce Young and hope he has that 4,000-yard season. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Listen, it's everyone. Damn, I can't even speak right now. Y'all don't piss me the hell off. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Man, somebody's very obvious on the board.
No, I see him. No, 100%. But at the same time, I want people to know in my head when I took Chuba, I really thought I could go another round, and maybe Justin Fields or Dak Prescott would have been there at the turnaround for me. That obviously didn't happen. So once again, one of the things we talk about in a startup is pivoting. Right now, I already have my QB1, and I have about less than 30 seconds. So I want to go ahead and get another quarterback. I'm not really high on Jordan Love. JJ McCarthy, I think he can have a good year. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get the stack. I'm gonna go with my boy Michael Penix here. I think with one, how y'all know how I feel about Drake London. I think Michael Penix he's going to be the reason why I believe in Drake London so much this year. Drake London showed out, and not to throw no shade at Kirk Cousins, because shout out to him. I think he just had a good NFL career so far. But you saw it. You saw he didn't have the arm talent anymore, or not the arm talent, but just the arm strength. When Michael Penix went in there, man, he was making throws that were like, maybe Michael Penix should have been the one starting at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. But I 100% believe in this offense going forward. And I saw something on Twitter the other day where Cousins didn't appreciate what the Falcons did with draft, or there wasn't transparency with the Falcons drafting Penix. But man, if you coming off the injury that you were, if you really thought they weren't going to cover their tail, man, I don't know what to tell you. And Dak is going to be the man this year. Yeah, I see. You already know it, my G. Speaking to it, Dak is going to be. He is my dark horse for QB1 in 2025 with George Pickens and CD Lamb. Speak on it, my boy. Speak on it. Rocco, you went Devontae Smith. How did you, so far? And let's look at your overall team, if we may. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy, Kenneth Walker, who we both believe and who I've even bought in 2026 with a late first. I am ever since the news of Kenneth Walker dealing with an injury since training camp is like, damn, what do we do? But with Kenneth Walker, Devontae Smith, those last two picks, walk us through your process through those. And all right, so we have
Let's go.
DJ Moore just came off the board. And,
All right, yeah, sorry, I did kind of had some technical difficulties there for a second, but I'm back in.
yeah, I had asked you with your last two picks with Kenneth Walker and Devontae Smith. Walk us through your thought process on those.
Walker is easy for me. I just think he's absolute stud. I think they're starting to invest in the line, and I like the running game that they're kind of implementing there. And talking about a guy that was well on his way to 60 catches, 70 catches last year, in 11 games, no less. So that's just part of his game that we didn't even account for him being a pass catcher coming out of Michigan State, and for him to rack up that many catches. And that's before we even talk about what he can do as a runner. He's a missed force tackle machine. And you look at his highlights, and he's catching the ball downfield over the shoulder. So I just think he's super underrated. And if it wasn't for those pesky obliques?
Obliques.
Or nuts issues that he has, he would be in that Breece Hall or better range. I think he's a sleeping giant, and I'm just trying to get him on every team. As far as Devonta Smith, I think he's an excellent WR3. If you look at his numbers last year, I believe he was like 70-80% of the time he was getting you 10 or more, also with a 30-point ceiling. So I think he provides a nice floor in that spot, but he also has ceiling. And if there's any regression from Saquon Barkley this year, him and AJ Brown could have huge years. So he's a guy that I wasn't in, early on in his career because of price, but as his price has come down, basically this offseason with no real reason for it coming down, because his production is still there on a per game basis. He's a guy I find myself getting a lot more of, especially as a wide receiver 3. I think he's going to be on a lot of winning teams this year.
And then we have Zay Flowers at the turnaround. Zay Flowers came off the board. Quinshawn Judkins, Hawkinson by you, and Mark Andrews. A lot of people have been trying to write Mark Andrews off just because of that drop in the playoffs. I still think he's going to have a role in 2025. And if he isn't on the Ravens after that, I still think he's going to be able to produce. I'm on the board, and I almost autoed here. I feel like if I could potentially wait, but if we're still talking redraft, I feel like there's Travis Hunter, you got Roma Dunze, Jalen Waddle.
What? Oh, you did. You got Michael Penix.
I'm gonna go DeAndre Swift, who I'm going to go ahead and get myself a third running back just to have as a backup. Once again, with that type of position, they get injured a lot. So you just never, if you only have 2 on your team and a start 2, I don't feel very comfortable with that way. But DeAndre Swift, I absolutely am on that hill where he's back with Ben Johnson, his previous coordinator in Detroit. A lot of people say Ben Johnson didn't want DeAndre Swift. That's totally not true. And I think he's giving DeAndre Swift. They could have. I feel like if they wanted to, they could have traded. They could have went and addressed that RB position way sooner than they did. They haven't. Yes, things could change throughout the rest of the offseason, but right now, DeAndre Swift is looking like the guy, which I think is very sexy because I have him on plenty of my fantasy teams. He has potential top 15 season an RB season win if you account his receiving upside. And honestly, I'm not that big on Rashawn Johnson. Or sorry, Roshan Johnson.
Roshan Johnson.
I'm not the biggest fan of his, so I think DeAndre Swift is a very, very underrated piece to have on your fantasy team in redraft and even in dynasty. And then we had a couple other guys. Travis Hunter went behind. George Pickens, Chev. I feel like you're trolling me at this point, but you know how I feel. Go Dogs and Dallas Cowboy. George Pickens will have a top 15 season. He has the best quarterback he has had in his whole career. And then he has another duo, a wide receiver mate of CD Lamb to take the pressure off of him. He doesn't have to be the guy. That's the guy who I believe is going to smash this year, 100%. And then we have Cameron Sutton. I think he's really Denver offense. You still believe in them. He's going to be great. Evan Ingram calls off the board. Great pick. Great pick. When we're talking about for the tight end position, he is my underrated pick for tight end one to repeat. Chris Olave, depending on your risk factor, I'm a little he burned me last year, so honestly, he goes in that same bucket that I'm almost ready to throw Zay Flowers in.
Enrico, man, you blew your pick, man. You were doing so well. you took Loveland, bro. It's not gonna happen. This is a redraft.
Yeah, Loveland. I don't know. I'm not. I don't really like that pick right there, but I think I'm gonna go Travis Kelce here, bro. It's redraft. At this point, that's such good value. He still had over 100 targets last year, so yes, he has lost a step. I would be the first one to agree with you. If this was Dynasty, I probably would have kept waiting. Honestly, at that pick, I would have been interested in Jake Ferguson if this was Dynasty. I know a lot of people are down on him. I am not one of those individuals. I 100% do believe that he's going to bounce back in 2025. Our overall offense just wasn't good. And when it comes to his overall game last year, it didn't take that step forward. Now, if he doesn't show out this year, then all right, we can go a different direction. We can go and get a different tight end. But
that's what scares me. That's what scares me is you believe in him, but if he doesn't, we're gonna go in a different direction. So you're kind of like hedging right there. Yeah.
I mean, if it's redraft, who cares? You know what I mean? If it's in 2025, that's all you're worried about. Dynasty, sure, you could be a little worried.
Come on now.
And then we got Emeka Egbuka coming off the board. Egbuka, depending on how before Waddle. Honestly, I think I would go Waddle before Emeka Egbuka in redraft. And especially after Jonnu Smith has been traded, I think Waddle actually is one of the main contributors or benefactors of the Jonnu Smith trade. I do not like the Isaiah Pacheco pick. I think throw that boy in the backwood. I'm sorry, my G.
I think in redraft in the 8th round, at the end of the 8th round, he's worth the shot because he's still attached to the Chiefs. So if their offense gets a little bit better, he could have some value. And he was a big part that was missing last year, but only in redraft because I don't think he's going to be long for the league. But if you look at it, I don't think there's a bunch of competition for what he does on that team. Brashard Smith is more of a pass catcher. He's going to be more of a change of pace, and he's a lowly drafted, pick. So I think it's going to take him a minute to kind of work his way Yeah, right. Our injury guy says Pacheco is cooked. So, if he says Pinocchio is cooked, then he's cooked then.
He's cooked, man. Throw that boy in the backwood, smoke him, and
Yeah.
have a good day type shit.
He said Pinocchio is done. So
It's a wrap for that boy. See what I'm saying? What we doing with my boy Truth? Let us know. He goes David Njoku, who also might be in the backwood in Dynasty, but redraft. He could honestly, if it depends on how you feel about the Cleveland offense. And with Joe Flacco, it's bombs away. It's almost like he has the Jameis Winston effect, where he gonna throw that bitch to somebody. And Flacco is still a serviceable quarterback in my eyes. So guys like Jerry Judy, David Njoku, who's the other wide receiver on there? Tillman, Cedric Tillman. I think those guys are still in good hands. Will they be top guys in fantasy? No, but I still believe the offense won't be like too shitty. I think they'll still be run heavy, but Jerry Judy, those guys will show you a little something, something. And where you going with this, Rocco? We go Chris Godwin. As much shit you talked about that man's ankle all off season.
I've been talking shit about him all off season,
All off
but
season.
in the ninth round, I'll take a shot at him.
Hold on, look at this comment by our guy. I'm gonna let you answer this one, Chef. Well, not Chef, sorry, Rocco. I was looking at Chef's name. Hey guys, fairly new to fantasy, and I just finished my half PPR one QB dynasty draft. I ended up drafting Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 1, Jordan Addison, flex, and TJ Hawkinson, main tight end. Am I in trouble?
Why didn't you stack them all with JJ McCarthy?
I don't like having that many guys on one team, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, I like it, man. I like it. I don't know if I would have all of those guys on the same team, but I like your faith in JJ McCarthy. So you are right. JJ is going to be fucking awesome. So he's going to support all of those guys. Trust me, bro. Maybe not, but I do like it. Are you from Minnesota? Is that is that kind of why you went in that direction? Or did you just take best available and those guys were best available every time?
Well, for being honest, you can't ever go wrong with Justin Jefferson as your wide receiver 1, and then TJ Hawkinson being another year removed off the injury. Who was and I'm coming down on my clock. I'm gonna go ahead and go Jordan Addison. I do believe he is one of the better wide receiver 2s in real life and in fantasy. And I also like the Minnesota offense. He's a guy that is a good pair mate with Justin Jefferson. But no, I think if we're looking at some other guys in this draft that just went, Calvin Ridley, another good value spot in redraft where he gets an upgrade at the QB position. I do believe in Cam Ward, and Calvin Ridley is true. Just coming into the NFL, he was a highly tout wide receiver, first rounder, and then you get Tony Pollard comes off the board. Love Tony Pollard, obviously former Cowboy, but he just shows in and out every year.
And that's who I was kind of looking at was Tony Pollard. But in reality, Chris Godwin is just higher on my board than Pollard. And I think that Spears is going to kind of get some work this year. I think Spears is kind of going to cut into his workload. I still think Pollard's a solid low end RB2. And I kind of went away with what I said in the beginning of the show, where I usually try to even out my teams as I have one running back, but I feel confident in my ability to find some running backs later on in the form of some of these rookies.
Hey, yeah, and once again, I like to just point out there's not a build that's better than another build. It's really about how you play it out, right? Whether it's hero wide receiver, hero running back, it's how you build out the structure of your team, honestly. Because I seen people win championships going hero running back. I've seen people go win championships having an elite quarterback and wide receiver pair. So it just really, and sometimes you just get lucky and you just win that bitch without even having the best team. There's been a lot of that. So it's when it comes to fantasy, yes, is there a strategy that goes into it? Sometimes it's luck, but honestly, if you the more mock drafts you do, the more leagues that you're in, the different scoring formats that you play or scoring settings that you play in, I think the overall better fantasy player that you become, whether you
What
play in 12 team, 14 team, 16 team, 10 team, 18 so it's like it depends on like your overall
I ain't
experience.
doing all that, man. I don't want to be taking, Trey Benson in the second round. Sorry, sorry, Chev. I just saw Trey Benson on your board, so I used him as an example. Um, but my thing is, getting to the playoffs consistently, that takes skill.
It does.
Not any jack off could get into the playoffs every single year, just taking anybody. But any jack off can win the championship every once in a while. But I feel like anybody can win it, but to get into the playoffs consistently and consistently have championship contending teams, that's a big time skill. Once you get into the playoffs, it's a total fucking crapshoot. Anything can happen at that point. Your guys can, you know, be sitting out. They can be hurt. They can be sitting out because of their record. You could get guys that have a scare in the game, and the team decides to take them out because it's not worth it that close to the playoffs. So there's a lot of things that can happen, down the stretch in week 16 and week 17 that are outside of your control. But what you can control is stacking really, really good teams.
And I had about 17, 16. And actually, I'll go ahead and make my pick. But I'm going to continue the overall theme of 49ers. I'm going to go Juwan Jennings, who I think will have since his redraft, he will have a better year than Brandon Ayuk this year. Y'all heard me right. He will have a better year with Ayuk coming back off that knee injury. Ben, I don't know what you're doing, my G. It's at this point in the 10th round, I feel like
All right.
that's good value. And then you're looking at the rest of these guys like
Y'all fucked up.
Jaden Reed, Johnu Smith just went off the board, Jawan Jennings by me, Debo Samuel, and I'm actually back on. I won't say I'm fully on Debo, but he actually is training with one of my favorite wide receiver coaches or trainers right now in the game, Route God. If you have an IG, that's his tag on or handle on IG, Route God. He works with some of your favorite wide receivers. He's actually absolutely a great personality, and I believe in the work that he puts in with his players. Debo, I'm back. I'm not fully back on Debo, but I think the overall negative vibe that people have had on Debo the last I think for like last month or two, I think Debo is actually going to have a pretty good
I
year.
mean, we've been negative on him for like the last couple of years, honestly,
For
because he
true.
hasn't been very good and he's always been hurt. So I don't know if Route Guide can keep him from getting injured, but hopefully they can stop him from, running the ball so much and getting banged up on those type of plays. But um, from what I understand, the Commanders coach likes to run those type of plays. So I think that's why they brought him in. So I worry about him, and I worry about that offense as a whole because they should have done more to put weapons, for that guy. Having like a 50-year-old tight end, Zach Ertz, and Terry McLaurin, it's just not enough. So I think that that team did a bad job of adding to last year's team. So yeah, let's see what happens. I still believe in Jaden Daniels, but I don't really like a lot of what that team did in the offseason. It seems like they went heavy on the defensive side of the ball with free agency, but as far as getting weapons for that guy, they could have did a better job. And Thanks, guys. I just won this draft. I got an awesome RB2. I waited on my guy this whole draft, and I got my guy, Cam Scatterboo, RB1 in New York.
RB1, quote, RB1.
Ain't no quotes about it. I
throw them up. I got RB1.
Tyrone Tracy, you could put him in a backwood. He's gonna get some gadgety plays.
Yeah.
But they saw what he does when he gets too many carries. He fumbles the ball. He lets the team down.
He said
Cataboo is a better catcher of the ball. You can look at what he did in college. He's gonna be a true bell cow there, and to get him in the 10th round is a beautiful thing.
And before we continue, thank you to everybody who joined this mock draft and made this episode possible. We really appreciate you all just coming in with us, joining us, and really appreciate it, man. It just ended, and I feel like we should look through a few of the guys and give our critiques on how they overall went. So let's look at our guy Aiden Noah. He went Josh Allen, Lad McConkey, Sam Laporta, Amarion Hampton, Trevion Henderson. So it looks like you're going the rookie route at the RB position. Risky, but also with two guys that I think could very much have really good rookie years, with Trevion Henderson being a PPR monster, and then Amarion Hampton now having the overall benefit of Najee Harris messing up his face or eye. So, and I saw the report for that. It was like a superficial eye injury. What the fuck does that mean? What is a superficial eye injury? Because is it real or is it not? Did bro mess his shit up or not? But nevertheless,
he got you up in a patch like Captain Sparrow for week 1.
What the fuck is a somebody tell me what the hell is a superficial injury? I digress. But then he went Dak Prescott, Roman, and then went wide receiver crazy to end off the draft. Roman Dunze, Xavier Worthy, Matthew Golden, and Luther Burden. Oh, Luther Burden hasn't really been practicing as much. So
2 Chicago wide receivers. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, that might be a little tough on.
Sorry to hear about that, but I do like your quarterbacks. I think the issue that you ran into is you drafted a dynasty team. I'm not sure if you could win money on, with this team in redraft. But if this was dynasty, you would have a team that would be set up for many, many years.
Gino was coming off the board, it looks like, and risking it for the biscuit. Yes, sir. Domestic violence and bad. Oh, hold on. Quinshon Judkins got arrested, kid. Oh, breaking news. We getting breaking news
I'm glad I faded the shit out of him.
We were getting breaking news on the pie. Hold on, breaking news. Quarantine.
I shouldn't be laughing, but
it's not funny. It's not a funny.
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry, guys.
It's not a funny situation. We're not laughing that he got. But first off, I'm in Broward County right now, so damn it, bro. What's going on? Why can't fucking just go sit your ass down on the couch, put an ice pack on your nuts, and chill out? Shit. This boy got arrested in Broward County. Crazy shit. Fort Lauderdale. It happened today. News.
Before I really comment on this, I have to read more into it. But if he really is hitting women, that's atrocious, and that's really bad behavior. So
you don't condone?
No, not at all. I got baby girls myself, so hopefully he's not doing that. Hopefully it's not as serious as it sounds, in these comment section. But that's fucked, man.
I'm still shocked at it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But Crispy saying Samson to the moon.
Samson to the moon. Hey,
if Jerome Ford stonks are sticking their head out of their cave right now, and if he's beating on women, fuck Quinshon.
Yeah, and it's funny because I can already see somebody trying to sneak. Hey man, I send you the second for Quinshawn Judkins. I'll send you this. He's in trouble. I send you the second and third for Quinshawn Judkins. I'll take him off your hands, Playboy. I could already see some people, or even trying to come from Dylan Sampson. I'll give you a third for Dylan Sampson. Now, boy, if you don't go sit your ass down in the corner, now it's just time to hold your players. Ice, and like our guy Stan said, ice up, son. But let's look at some of these other guys' teams. B Hoot 6. He went Lamar Jackson, Nico Collins, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, CJ Stroud, DJ Metcalf, Chris Olave, Jerry Judy, Kincaid, and Spears. Ooh, and we're looking. If I'm looking at the overall running back position, I like me Bucky Irving, Chase Brown. I like Chase Brown. I'm not fully in how people are fully in on Chase Brown. I He's currently the RB1 right now for Cincinnati, but once again, I think if you're looking at the passing upside for him, yes. But I think he's somebody who's better when he has limited touches because he's more explosive. I think when you're looking at a pure grinder, I don't see that from Chase Brown. But Rocco, how do you feel about Chase Brown?
I think in the fourth round, that's fine value. I think they're going to scale down some of his workload. Going forward, I think that's why they brought in Taj Brooks to be, that first and second down type of guy, maybe even in the goal line. But, I'm not super in on Chase Brown, but I can see in the fourth round, that's a fine pick. I probably would have went Josh Jacobs before him, maybe a Breece Hall before him. But I can see why he got drafted is because he's attached to Joe Burrow, and he was absolutely a league winner down the stretch.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not off Chase Brown. I still think if you have him on your team, if I had Chase Brown as my RB2, bet I think I want somebody more, I guess, volume who I feel more confident in as my RB1. But if you do have him as your RB1 and you like your guys, that's my take. If you have him and that's your dude, go for it. And then like DJ or DK Metcalf, I think now he's the wide receiver one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In already monkey, but once again, he's A-Rod. Now he has A-Rod as quarterback, which he almost had Garrett Wilson ready to crash out. Like Garrett Wilson was literally, if they brought back Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, Garrett Wilson wanted to be traded. That's how bad how much he hated playing with Aaron Rodgers. And I don't like that for DK Metcalf. Chris Olave, I spoke on it a little bit earlier, but it just really depends on your risk tolerance. Chris Olave pisses me off, and it's not all the way his fault because he was getting thrown concussion balls by our boy Carr, who now
ain't my boy.
Sorry, not none of our boys. My bad, fault. Not our boy, but hey, I'm somebody's guy, somebody's man's was throwing hospital balls and leaving Chris Olave out there high and dry. Now he has either a rookie quarterback with Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler, who I'm still very high on, and I think will win out that QB1 spot. So, and also he's in a good situation where if we're talking about targets, he is the bona fide wide receiver one for that New Orleans Saints offense. So, just depending on your risk tolerance, Chris Olave could be a really good value for your team. And if somebody's willing to give him up for a late first, or even if someone's super, super down for, I don't think nobody would give him up for a second or a third. But shit, I've seen crazier things happen in fantasy leagues. And then if we're looking at Jerry Judy, I know you're not that high on Jerry Judy.
Man, put that motherfucker in a backwood.
I know you don't.
Garbage ass fucking Jerry Judy. Once I seen Jerry Judy on this guy's team, I knew he wasn't winning the championship.
Oh, don't do my G like that. I do like Jerry
Man,
Judy.
The only time he's ever been good was with Jameis Winston, Crabman himself, throwing him moon balls.
That was his first year with the Browns, though, and it showed that he showed that he could be wide receiver one. So let's see what
it showed that everybody was getting fed when Jameis Winston was just doing his thing out there. Ain't nobody gonna go out there and do Jameis Winston type of things. And I think Tillman's better. So
I ain't mad at that one.
Tillman was eating, and then he got hurt. Poor guy.
And then
But Judy, he could be a wide receiver 3, but I don't know. I just don't. Sorry, it's my brand. I just don't like him for some reason.
And to everybody that's now tuning in or has came in, thank you. This is actually the most people that we've had on live since our first recording, which was our goal. Basically, when we started off this summer, when if you were here at the beginning of Fourth and Fantasy, we were doing a lot of live shows on Sundays. And then when the season ended, we moved over to recording our videos, and now we're getting back into doing lives. And man, we can't just seeing the overall support from everybody and the difference from then till now. We appreciate everybody that really fucks with Fourth and Fantasy. And excuse my language, but man, I know we don't say it, and I feel like we don't say it enough, but it really does mean a lot to us because we just love talking about football. We love talking about fantasy football. This is what we do, is our love and hobby. So thank you all. But let's look at our guy Ben's team, and we'll look at a couple more before we head out for this episode. And before I actually do go over Ben, this episode has been brought to you by Fast Draft, the fastest best ball platform out there, where they're trying to give you money, $250,000 of cash prizes to be exact. And if you use our promo codes fourth, they will double your first deposit up to $50. I repeat, if you use our promo codes fourth, Fast Draft will double up your first deposit up to $50. And now let's look at our boy Ben's team. We have Jaden Daniels, who either redraft or dynasty is the top 5 quarterback at this point. Devin Achane, Caleb Williams, Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin, who is currently in a contract dispute with the Commanders, but this is redraft, so we don't give a fuck about any of that. 2025, he will be a Commander, I believe, or that just be stupid for the Commanders of what you're trying to build towards or repeat from last year. And then you got RJ Harvey. Some people believe, and some reports I've heard in the last couple of days, is that J.K. Dobbins is going to be the RB1 or the starter for the Broncos. And that has some people scared about RJ Harvey and his overall production value in 2025. I'm here to tell you, and Rocco, you might be on the same boat as me when I say this. Don't be scared, Playboy. There's nothing to be scared about. RJ Harvey is that guy, and he has the draft capital to go along with it. He's the most explosive back in that backfield, and I do believe he's a better receiver than J.K. Dobbins. He's not going to be rolled out in this backfield. Rocco, what do you believe?
I believe that, J.K. Dobbins can be the starter.
He could.
The starter gets those first and second down carries, but that's not where guys are smashing points. Guys are smashing points with explosives and catching the ball. So starter really doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean that J.K. Dobbins is a 3-down back. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. R.J. Harvey was never getting, 70% of the workload. Even when it was just Audric Estime there, even with Audric Estime, we still kind of projected it to be, like a 60-40, 65 tops, 35. So I think what you're going to see here is more of a 50-50 split, but RJ Harvey is going to be the one catching the ball, and he's going to be the one scoring most of the fantasy points. But I really like what Big Mac did with his receivers, Rice, McLaurin, Sutton, Downs, and Ayuk. That's a pretty damn sexy wide receiver crew. I see that he believes in Kraft, and Kraft is definitely moving up of people's boards. He's a little weak at running back. I'm not sure if I want Harvey as my 2. I'd rather start off the season with him as more of a depth piece. But I believe that JK is still on the board, and there's still some interesting running backs on the board. But where he fucked up at was he took Caleb Williams in the 3rd round when you still had a Drake May on the board, you had Justin Herbert on the board, you had Brock Purdy on the board. You had C.J. Stroud on the board. Um, you messed up right there. Dak Prescott, every other year, Dak Prescott. So you can believe in Caleb Williams, but I don't. I'm not seeing him winning people championships in 2025. But I'm cool if he proves me wrong.
Yeah, and then hey, if you look at shout out Josh Downs, I think with their Daniel Jones being the quarterback with the Colts, he now has a better outcome than what he would have had with Anthony Richardson, and that's no slight to Anthony Richardson. I just believe that it wasn't working out for what Josh Downs' game is. And we got one. Yeah, we've heard more news on Judkins was arrested. Yes, he was, but we just gotta wait and see what the news is with that one. I don't want. I don't want to jump. We can't poke a little fun on it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to kick a man while he's down. And hopefully everything turns out like I said. We've seen situations where it was just a complete made up story, but also don't want to discredit the accuser or what actually happened. So we just gotta wait for more news out there. And let's look at a couple of more guys. We'll look at our guy Chef. Just because you keep trolling me, my G, we're boring. I don't know how long we can keep doing. I'm just playing, my G. Now, when we're talking about the RB position, he hit it pretty well. And with Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry, and we're talking about redraft. Those are the redraft RBs to target. Derrick Henry, Cyborg, Dynasty. He probably lasts a little longer. He definitely not going in that second round. But redraft, Mister almost had 2,000 yards last year, and if it wasn't for a Saquon Barkley's crazy year, he would have had more news or more limelight to him. Derrick Henry is that guy. George Kittle, potential tight end one for this year. And then his two quarterbacks, Drake May and Justin Fields. Justin Fields will have a better year than Drake May. Justin Fields will finish as a top 10 quarterback. I don't think Drake May will. He could finish as like a top 15-ish, then move into a top 10-ish the next previous year potentially. And then you got his wide receivers, Jameson Williams, George Pickens. George Pickens is going to outproduce Jameson Williams. Actually, if I'm looking at his overall wide receivers taken, George Pickens will be his most productive receiver this year. And if we're going full, like if everything goes 100% sexy, George Pickens is a top 12-ish receiver in 2025. That's how high his talent and potential is. Then you got Travis Etienne, Benson, and then Reed. I'm not really high on Reed as much as I was last year, but Jordan Love is still a good quarterback. We just got to see what the overall targets look like. And from the news of it, Matthew Golden looks like one of the better route runners on that team. But RB, if you're talking about hero running back strategy, this kind of points to that one where you're going really strong in that first two rounds for your running back spot. And in redraft, we can, for the most part, the consensus, it's very important to have a strong running back group. I think that's even more important than in Dynasty we've seen than on the norm. But how do you feel about our guy Chef's team?
Oh man, I've been in a few drafts with Chev so far, and I can tell you he smashes running backs. So if I'm in a draft with him, I always kind of, for the most part, I always see him going running back heavy early, and I think it's smart because he wants to win championships and running back, especially in redraft. Running backs really win championships. And Derrick Henry only almost had 2,000 yards. I mean, Bijan Robinson is Bijan Robinson. His QBs are a little bit shaky, but those guys are max upside, and both of them run. So both of them have that Konami code in them. And as far as the receivers, he's got a bunch of solid wide receiver 2 types. And he picked up some depth at running back. So I like the way his team's built. and you can see that he definitely has a contender. And one more thing,
Yeah.
I think George Kittle is a definite dark horse to lead tight ends in tight end scoring this year.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you can get yourself some George Kittle, try to do it sneakily because I don't really trust some of those other receivers with Ayuk possibly being out to start the season, starting the season on pup. He's clearly the best receiver on that team.
Yeah. No, we're going to end this one with our guy. The last team we will review. Not to jump over anybody. Just we've been at this for an hour and 10 minutes. Once again, a wonderful episode. Actually, a lot of fun. We like doing these mock drafts, especially with our league mates or friends in the community. We really appreciate you all. But sub, like, all that, share. Appreciate any of the support. Really appreciate it. Find us on Blue Sky. Find us on Twitter. Find us on TikTok. Find us on Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Literally find us on wherever you can go streaming, wherever you can put content out. That's where you can find us at. Now, we little look at our guy Crispy. He went once again almost in that same direction of Chev. RB heavy in that first 2 rounds with Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, potential top 5 RB finish for CMC if he can stay healthy. And then he went JSN, Justin Herbert, Devontae Adams, which I think would end up being my favorite pick of his out of all these guys. James Conner, Mark Andrews, Amika Ibuka, Matthew Stafford, and Jaden Higgins. He and redraft once again. Age is not much of a factor. You're looking at guys that you believe will produce. Do we believe Saquon Barkley will produce? Yes. Do we believe CMC will produce when healthy? Yes. JSN will. Yes, he produced last year. We have to see what he does with his new quarterback Sam Darnold this year. Justin Herbert. Once again, we got to see how he does this year. He got a better running back. He got more additions to that running back group. Not running back group, but the wide receiver group with Trey Harris. Heard some news that he's not reporting into training camp because he's not signed yet. So that's something to monitor. And then they also brought back Mike Williams. So, and then Lat McConkey year 2, they improved the tight end spot as well. So that overall offense could go up. Then you can look at the other guys like Mark Andrews, James Conner, still a good value as a running back position. Matthew Stafford, go Dogs, still one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Yeah, but like I said, Devontae Adams, if I'm looking at your overall team, Devontae Adams is my favorite pick that you got in the 5th round because he has the potential to finish in that top 10 range, honestly, if the Rams offense goes as we think it would. Matthew Stafford could end up throwing for 5,000 passing yards, as Rocco is on record of saying.
He will. And there ain't no might about it.
You say, ain't no motherfucking might. Stand on your goddamn
Ain't no might about it.
I'm standing, boy. Yes, sir.
10 toes.
Yes, sir. I love when Rocco talk his shit, boy. I want fourth of fantasy start going. I swear, I make me want to start going on my takes. Don't let me start going on my little run.
Oh.
Y'all ain't ready for it. Now, do we want to go over our teams real quick? Do you want to go over your team?
Yeah, let me kind of talk about Crispy's team real quick.
Yeah, bro.
I love those running backs. Saquon and Christian McCaffrey, talking about 2 guys that just a couple years ago were both, going right at the top of most leagues, and to stack them with James Conner, chef's kiss. What he did that was a little bit different from Chev was he waited on his tight end, and he was able to get Mark Andrews, which I also love because Mark Andrews is probably my most owned tight end at this point because he's just so cheap after dropping that pass in the playoffs last year. But his wide receivers, pretty fucking good. I mean, Jackson Smith, and you got Devontae Adams. So yeah, I think low key right now, as far as the teams I've looked at so far, I think his team is probably, outside of my own, my favorite team I've seen so far.
I like
Because
it.
he's just strong everywhere.
I agree. Now let's look at your team and how you basically built it. I like is honestly, if we're talking about teams that we like, besides your Cam Scatterbo pick, I I really mess with a lot of your draft. Justin Jefferson and Malik Neighbors to start it off. Two guys who, hell, Justin Jefferson, you can argue is the wide receiver one, and then you got Malik Neighbors who has the upside to be dark horse of a wide receiver one if he can stay healthy. And we got to see how Russell Wilson and or Jackson Dart how they go about it. Then you go with your quarterbacks, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy. Bo Nix is one of my favorite quarterbacks just to own on my fantasy team. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in the NFL. I think he gives you underrated rushing ability, and I think he has potential to push to that top 5 passing TDs. So, and then the overall pieces around him have gotten better. Marvin Mims came out late last year, did his thing, right? And then hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm still a big believer in Troy Franklin. He had one of the better analytical draft profiles last year. I just think he needed to gain some weight. He needed to add some muscle. And because he was a bit lanky at 6'3", almost, I believe he was like 180, sub 180. I think gaining some weight is going to do him some justice. But your team with Kenneth Walker, if he can stay healthy, great. Devontae Smith is one of the better wide receiver twos. He can never really be a wide receiver one in my eyes just because of how much the Eagles run the ball. And then A.J. Brown is already there. Honestly, Jaden Waddle you could have went if you switch Devontae Smith and Jaden Waddle. I would actually feel a lot better with that one because I think with Jonnu Smith being off the team and if Tua stays healthy, Jalen Waddle could end up having really, really, really big value in 2025. And then you got my boy Chris Godwin. I believe he will come back. The ankle is.
I just got him so I could trade him to you.
Hey man, listen, I would do it. And if it was Dynasty, the ankle, yes, it was serious, but a lot of the reports are saying he's going to be good to go for the season. Well, and he doesn't need to be 100% to be serviceable. He doesn't need to be 100% to be dependent on. I think once again with how they drafted and everybody else on that team, he will be just fine. The only pick that I'm not really big high on or think sexy is Cam Scatterbo. Now, just depending on how you feel about him, it can go either way. But nevertheless, I think you did have a really good draft here.
Yeah, my favorite pick was Cam Scatterbo because I was able to wait until the 10th round and got a true 3-down beast with the best limb pliability in the league.
And we have a question. He said Matthew Golden plus Jalen Coker or Quinshawn Judkins. I probably still go Quinshawn Judkins, but
too soon.
Yeah, way too soon.
Soon. We need more information here.
Somebody sending you a trade out right now, they don't have no good intentions. They definitely trying to get over you right now. So just hold until
I would wait for more information, but I do like Golden, so I do like Coker, so even without the news, that may be something that I would look at. And pre-news, I really wasn't a Judkins believer. I mean, I started off the process with him as my RB1, but as the process went on, I dug into more of his analytical and his stats, and kind of looked at his situation. I mean, the problem is, he's not the only guy on that team, and it's not looking like a really good offense. So, they also drafted our guy. What's his fucking name? The other running back.
Who?
They got Ford and they got
Dylan Sampson.
Derp. Yeah, Dylan Sampson. So, it's not like he has the backfield all to himself. And I mean, unless Sanders comes out and is the truth, I don't believe in any of those quarterbacks. So, I've been fading Judkins. Where he goes, I'm usually taking like an Ibuka, or I'm jumping him with like a Caleb Johnson or maybe even an RJ Harvey. So maybe I'm not the right guy to ask, but I would wait in a vacuum. I would wait to find out more information about Judkins before I traded him away.
And Crispy said he thought about jumping you for scat, but he like Jaden Higgins
Mm-mm.
better. And I'm not mad at that because Jaden Higgins has a very distinguished role in that offense right now across of Nico. He's going to be the other outside wide receiver, and he's going to hopefully take pressure off of Nico, and that's it's going to be really good. I think he, as another guy that could have 1,000 yard season, an underrated 1,000 yard season, and people it's going to be very quiet. But anything over 800 yards for Jaden Higgins, I think his rookie year would be really good. And to end off our episode, Rocco, how do you feel about my overall team?
Um, I feel like you have a type. You have a type of draft, and it's usually always the same. So, I mean, what can we say? We know you're gonna go Lamb unless somebody snipes you, which
Guilty.
I'm surprised that Chef didn't go CD Lamb just to fuck with you.
I'm saying at this point, at
But
this,
yeah, if we could talk about your brand is built on Lamb and London, the two L's. Hopefully they don't they don't give you too many L's in the season. But I love those two guys. Baker Mayfield, I don't know. There were some other guys there. Some people would have said maybe Patrick Mahomes, definitely not Caleb Williams.
and
Um,
redraft, I'm definitely going Baker.
but yeah, now that you say redraft, you know, the only question is that third OC in 3 years. But at this point, it's got to be Baker's offense more than coaching. And I'm more of a Jimmy and Joe over the X's and X's and O's anyway. So I can't fault that. Brees Hall and Chuba Hubbard, fantastic running backs. Hubbard was a guy I was looking at around my pick, but I believe I went with let's see. Oh yeah, okay. I went with where did he go? Kenneth Walker. Okay, yeah. I went with KW3 because he's the guy that I build my brand on. So that's the only reason I think Kenneth Walker's gonna be good. He's just got a little bit more ceiling, in my personal opinion, than Hubbard. And they brought in some guys, but fantastic pick right there. Michael Penix, you were able to rebound after after Chev definitely trolled you with the Fields pick. You guys are in lockstep on Fields. That's why I had a hate on him on our last podcast. Swift, another guy you've built your brand on. Travis Kelce was interesting, but in the 8th round, that's fine.
And redraft, like I'm probably not selecting Kelsey in Dynasty because I just don't want a 1 year rental. It's especially if I'm doing a startup now. If I already have Travis Kelsey on my team, then fuck it. Balls to the wheels fall off, and he's just gonna have to die on my team until he retires. But in redrafts, I'll take him where he could end up being top 5 at that spot still this year.
Yeah. So yeah, your team is definitely gonna contend this year. You're definitely on brand. Not too many swerves there. You definitely got your guys. So and then this is what it's all about, man. Get your guys. Stand on business, stand on your takes, and let those guys bring you championships.
And Crispy says he loves Kelsey in redraft. Yeah, he's a great pick. Like you don't in redraft, it takes away the unknown of future years. Oh, he might retire. I could care less if he retires after the 2025 season if it's redraft because I'm not going to pick him in 2026. But if he's on my team in Dynasty then damn, I guess I just now have to drop Travis Kelce.
Bro, let me tell you, I got some animosity to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce a couple years ago, I want to say 2023, I had a stack team, and my tight ends were Isaiah Likely and David Njoku. So a guy offered me Travis Kelce for a future first. I took the deal, and in the championship game, I played that some bitch as my starting tight end and sat David Njoku.
Oof.
David Njoku had like 25 points. And
Those
against the Cincinnati fucking Bengals, and I'm looking at it right now, he had 4.6 fucking points in a game I lost by 5 points. Fuck you, Travis Kelce. Go to hell.
And we just got our first on air, on live. Quishon Judkins has been sold for Matthew Golden and Jalen Coker. He wanted him some coke, and he said, "I'm gonna get it at every means necessary."
Man, it's like we moving stocks in the 80s over here, man. Coke it up, bro.
But listen, I can't wait for our next episode so we can report more on this Quishon Judkins news as we get more information as it comes. But nevertheless, this has been another great episode from Fourth and Fantasy from my guy Rocco and myself, Honcho. We got more coming, man. The season's almost upon us. We're about a week and a half. There's some teams that report in a few days to training camp. This is probably one of my favorite times of the year because those pads come on, and unlike OTAs and mini camps, training camps are typically more open to the public. So we get more information, more videos coming out, which I absolutely love for fantasy. But I just want to say once again, thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to everybody who joined the mock draft. Thank you to everybody who watches us on Twitter, watches us on YouTube, chats with us on TikTok. Hell, even the people who disagree with us. Hey, I'm sorry, just speaking out loud, I never believe my take is better than anybody's. I just am able to voice my opinion out loud, and I stand on my takes, whether I end up being right or whether I end up being wrong. And if I am wrong, another teachable moment. I think when people in this type of game or just in this community, when you always are out to be right, that's when you really just start to lose the context of things. So, Rocco, do you have anything for our viewers before we head out of here, my G?
Yeah, man. Make sure you guys like and sub to our content. You know, set us to notifications so you can join the party when we go live, when we do go live. And join the Discord. We're gonna have the Discord link in the description for the podcast, and join us in there, man. It's completely free, and we're quick to interact with you guys and gals. So join that community, and we appreciate all of you for joining us tonight. This was a lot of fun, and we look forward to going live more often going forward.
Yes, sir. But until next time, this is Fourth and Fantasy, your fantasy playbook to more championship wins. And who are we meant for, my boy Rocco?
We are a fantasy football podcast by fantasy sickos, by fantasy stickos. But everybody, all of you are welcome.
Y'all have a wonderful night. Till next time, Fourth and Fantasy.